because he'd made a great. He'd picked up the ball at dummy half, thrown a dummy when he'd picked up the ball, thrown off the markers, then outpaced the centre off the mark, and then broke through, and there was just the fullback to beat anyway. He could have gone himself, and it would have been a better try, I think. But anyway, and then the third try by French, that was just genuine pace. It was an error by Toulouse. He picked it up, and there was only one thing happening once he picked it up. I actually think the most pleasing Wigan try was the Harry Smith try. When you've seen the highlights from this one, it was a really good offload from Cade Ellis, which it's not something we've seen a lot from him. I like seeing offloads from players that you don't expect it, because it means in the big moments, just like we had with Morgan Smithies in the Challenge Cup final for Smith's try in that game, they might come up with something. So you can't rule it out, even though you expect it from Mago, you expect it a bit more from like Bateman or KPP, but you don't expect it from some of the guys. So it's good when that happens, I think.
Yep, can't argue with you on that one.
Other than all that, it was really routine. Toulouse, they look like a side that know they're already gone, rather than being one that was fighting desperately for their Super League lives. You know, it just felt so hollow from their point of view.
Yeah, it's all right. They'll come to life again on Sunday. Yeah.
Well, they need to come to life and then some in the next 3 games, and I just don't see that happening with 2 of those away from home. Hugo Pazette in this game for them, he was really unfortunate. He got a head knock, went off, passed his HIA, came back on. I'm pretty sure it was his first involvement, the first tackle he got involved in. After that, he got another head knock and didn't come back on. So, I assume that he's going to be out for these 2 games. I assume he failed his HIA, so that's a shame for him. John Bateman got a grade 8 other country behaviour charge from this one, no match penalty notice. I've got to be honest, I've no idea. I was pulling someone's hair apparently.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Early in the game, I'm guessing if it was like there's a few options, isn't there, in that team, but probably maybe Armitage's hair or something, although yeah, he was on that side of the pitch, so yeah, maybe him. And the big news for Wigan has come out this evening that Warrington, just before we were ready to record, Warrington centre Toby King has signed for Wigan on a season-long loan deal for 2023. King, who's 26, is currently on loan at Huddersfield, and he only signed a new contract extension until the end of 2024 at Wyre last year, after he was Dream Team player in 2020, had a good start to 2021, and then he's kind of fallen off at Warrington since then.
Had
his best game apparently for Huddersfield, according to Mark, this weekend, and now he's going to be at Wigan next year. Bit of a surprise.
Yeah, you're picking them off, aren't you, from Warrington?
Exactly, yeah. It's like Sean Wayne said, if they don't like Darryl Powell, they'll do for me.
Yeah.
Look, Wigan need a centre. Jake Bibby's going, and I think Bibby's been exposed a bit defensively recently. Is not the fastest, even though he can play on the wing. He's not, he's a good committed player. His attitude, Jake Bibby, absolutely cannot be questioned. Which maybe with Toby King, that's an area that I'm not sure about, with the fact that he's had a fallout at Warrington. But with the ball, he's better than any centre Wigan have got currently. Defensively, he needs some work as well, but I kind of trust Matty Pete to either fix up the things that he hasn't got right, or just get rid and do what he needs to do elsewhere. But Wigan need outside backs, especially if Bevan French is going. They still need a centre and a winger for next year, in my view. So if Bevan French is going, so this helps because they needed 2 centres and now they only need 1.
Mm-hmm. Is there a small part of you, Mark, that thinks that the longer French isn't announced somewhere else, the more likely he is to stay?
No.
Or not?
No. No. I think it's more likely now that he's gone and we're waiting until the end of the season to tell people.
Okay, I was just wondering how you were viewing it.
The thing is, the longer it goes on, the more he keeps doing amazing things. So... Like, even when we were shit against Wakefield, watch the highlights, see the try that he set up, And any NRL club should be thinking, it's got to be worth a
We
chance,
want
hasn't
him. Yeah.
You know, any side in the bottom half of the NRL who isn't looking at him and thinking he makes them better, I don't know what they're doing, quite frankly.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah, I'd send him back to the NRL and wish him well. I'd be gutted if he ends up in another Super League club. That's definite. But he is, you know, he makes this him and Field together make this side so much more watchable. When you throw in how well Harry Smith's been performing this year, Cade Cuss got a couple of tries in this game. You know, we've got Bateman and Farrell in their class. KPP with the way he's played. Patrick Mago being a point of difference off the bench. We've been a lot more fun to watch, a lot more enjoyable to watch. Liam Marshall obviously having a great year. So it will be a shame when parts of it get broken up with French going. But, you know, I'd take half of this year over last year. So if we only have half as fun a time watching the games next year, it's still a lot better than 2021 was.
Fair enough, yeah.
Moving on to the last game of the round, no fan views in on this one, but a statement win by Salford away in the south of France. It was 18-8 to Salford at half-time. They ended up romping home 48 points to 14, 7,133 with the crowd. Ben Thaler was the referee. Incomplete team stats because the Super League website forgot about Tyler Dupree again, but what about the individual stats we did have, Sarah?
Yep, so for the winning team, Salford, it was Brody Croft with 1 try, 3 try assists, 11 marker tackles, 184 metres and 3 clean breaks. Callum Watkins, 2 tries and 136 metres. Tim Laffy, 1 try assist, 115 metres and 3 successful offloads. And Jer Burgess with 112 metres. For the losing Catalans, it was Fuad Yaha with 145 metres. Tom Davis with 2 tries, 119 metres. Dean Ware with 1 try assist, 112 metres, 2 clean breaks. And Gil Dudson with 101 metres. Yeah, I've only seen the highlights, but they were pretty impressive highlights.
Yeah, it wasn't a full-strength Catalan side, but I still think it was a big statement win by Salford.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Salford on my Super Brew, and I'm sure, as everyone knows, I picked my Super Brew based on what I'd like to happen rather than necessarily what I think's going to happen. And I know Salford have been playing well, but I thought it was still a big ask to go to the south of France in the heat and beat Catalans who are used to the heat. But I thought, yeah, I mean, they scored some really nice tries. A lot of them were quite long-range tries, but with support. And, yeah, I mean, I think some of Catalan's defence was very questionable as well. But take nothing away from Salford, they played very well.
Yeah, I think Steve McNamara described it as embarrassing, and you know, you can sort of understand that when you're putting 48 points up on you at home. But Salford do score all sorts of wonderful tries. There's the long range ones, and then there was Tim Laffy with another stupid offload. Ken Seo being the beneficiary this time around. They absolutely cut Catalans up. When you watch the highlights, both halves, in fact, the whole spine seemed to run riot, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, both halves scored with their running game, but Ackers and Braley, they showed up as well. That their scores didn't they set up tries for Callum Watkins with their running game, and then Braley showed up in support for his own try as well. It just looked, obviously I just saw the highlights too, but it just looks like they were absolutely on fire, just as they were, you know, against St Helens at home a few weeks ago as well, and against Huddersfield. So that's 3 of the top 4 that Salford have absolutely, you know, demolished. In recent, I mean, the game got a bit closer against Huddersfield because they didn't have the same second half that they had first half. But you know, you put the second half of this game, the first half of the game last week against Huddersfield, and the whole game against St Helens, but in particular again the second half of that one, they just absolutely put in quality teams with that should be good in defence absolutely to the sword. It's impressive.
Yeah, and I think, you know, currently I would say that Paul Rowley's got to be your coach of the year, hasn't he?
Given that Salford were predicted to be a bottom 3 side and fighting out with Toulouse and Wakefield for relegation, and they're currently in 6th place, they're looking like a top 6 side. I think you always have to give our mention to the coach at the top, but St Helens have not been the far and away the best side this year, like they have been in previous years under Wolf. You do have to say Matty Pete has turned Wigan around. I've just talked about how much more fun they are to watch. They've won a trophy already this season. They look like they should finish in 2nd, 3rd, probably 3rd at the worst. He's got to be in the conversation with Rowley as well. But yeah, I think it's a fair shout, Rowley being in that conversation for sure.
Yeah, and I think Tim Laffy. Well, I think I've talked about him quite a lot. How much I think he's a brilliant player. Croft and Sneed seem to be working so well. Yeah.
Croft's gonna be in the dream team, surely.
Yeah.
Unless something weird is manufactured around wanting to put English team players in it again, like they did a few years ago. But he's going to be on the voting form for the SLP dream team, and I'd be shocked if he's not in that top 2 halfbacks conversation. 6 and 7 put together. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. I was asked. So when we came to your place a few weeks ago, my dad asked me whether I would have Cade Cust or Brodie Croft in my team, because obviously I'm a big fan of both of them, and I think Brodie Croft would get the nod for me but it's a one.
Yeah, well, I think I've gone on record saying it before. When Cade Cust gets pulled back to the NRL because Wigan is a bridging gap for halfbacks to get back in the NRL, then Brodie Croft can come to Wigan and earn himself a deal back in the NRL as well. I'd be fine with that. Michael McAlorum.
That's good of you. I'm sure that the Salford fans will be really happy to know that you're, pleased to take that hit.
Well, based on how few of them send in fan reviews, no matter how well they play, I don't think any of them listen anyway. Grade A dangerous contract charge for Michael McAlorum. He gets a 1-match penalty notice, so he'll miss one of the games this weekend, the first one. But to be honest, he probably would have been, at his age and his importance to their side, he probably would have been rotated through the weekend anyway. So he's just enforced upon himself to make sure of it. Do you want to take us through the Super League standings, Scoots?
Yep, so St Helens at the top on 40 points and need just one more win to secure the league leaders' shield. Wigan have 34 points in 2nd, with Huddersfield on 31, securing their first playoff spot since 2015. Catalans have 28 points in 4th, Leeds are up to 5th, and Salford are in 6th on 25 and 24 points respectively. Castleford drop out of the top 6 on points difference. Hull KR and Hull FC both stay on 20 points. Warrington and Wakefield both have 16 points and are all but mathematically safe, with Toulouse 6 points behind with 3 games left.
Stat line of the week: Lewis Murphy, 3 tries, 7 tackles, 212 metres, 2 clean breaks. But player of the week for me goes to the player that I saw be the best, and that's Bevan French.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't see many great players. I think I will go for Brodie Croft with his performance there. 1 try, 3 try assists, 11 marker tackles, 184 metres and 3 clean breaks.
Yeah, impressive for certain. In the predictions, I went 6 out of 6 last week. Tom went 5 out of 6. It was that Catalan-Salford game where we differed. So there you go. In the host Super Rude, David's top. I've got the Cap in 2nd, but I don't think I'm going to be able to catch David, to be honest. Alan's 3rd, and you're 4th, Sarah. I'm guessing you haven't been making your predictions whilst you've been away, because you've dropped off.
Unfortunately, I have been making my predictions while I've been away. I might have done better had I not. Like I say, I back who I want to win, not who I think's going to win.
That's as good a reason as any. In the main Superoo, I've got the yellow cap double. I'm wearing 2 yellow caps this week in the host and the main Superoo. John McNelly, though, moves to the top. St Helens Van John, so well done, John. In the fantasy league...
the same as me. It's just more successful for him because Saints do win.